Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm Lisa with Lisa Boone Design.
This is the story of a piano bench that I acquired from I don't know where, that I painted and then redid. Here to start off, I'm using DIY paints, Crinoline and my S50 to get a nice coat. In order to decoupage, I'm using Dreams of Flight on top of the Crinoline, and I'm going to decoupage it using liquid patina. I'm using a glove to see if I like it. Normally I just use saran wrap and I lay it down, but this worked out really well, and I'm using my F40 to apply the liquid patina. And notice how I always dry fit it. I am holding it down with one hand, and then I'm going to go ahead and lay it flat with my other. Then once I have it secured, I flip it backwards and I start away from the last part of where it's been patinaed, and this way it lets you have a nice smooth transition, and you just back brush it in, lift your paper up, and from the middle out, go ahead and just flatten it out. And you do that in pieces and sections until you get the entire thing decoupaged. It's super easy. If you've not tried decoupage, or if you've been intimidated, take it slowly, try it. I bet you will love it and have a lot of fun. Make sure your edges are nice and applied down. To remove the excess paper, take a sanding sponge and sand away from your project, and you get a nice clean edge. And save those scraps because you can use them for another project. IOD's stamp in Catwalk is a really cool stamp that you can apply on any substrate, any surface, whether it's fabric, wood, whatever you have. I applied Crinoline, 2 coats, and then I took my IOD brayer with stone gray ink and I applied it on my stamp. Don't press down hard, just go ahead and move your fingers over it. Make sure you get it totally covered and cover the area, whether it's fabric, wood, whatever. It works great. Then I filled in some holes. Then I painted the base in black velvet. I also painted the bottom because it's thin board. I didn't want it to buckle. So I got a hold of a whole bunch of piano rolls, and I wanted to use them for junk journaling. That's why I got them. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what better way to use the piano roll than to decoupage it onto the piano bench, right? So they come in these little cute boxes, which make for great storage, especially if you're like a paper crafter or any kind of crafter really, because these boxes are really heavy duty sturdy, and you can put a lot of stuff in there. If you're a junk journal, you could put like ephemera and things like that. But they come in this roll, and they're all different. And this one's from 1928, and they just roll out, and they, like I said, all look totally different. Some have a lot more text down here, tons of videos on YouTube that you can look at that you can do with this paper. But I absolutely, I don't know if you can hear that, I love the way that this paper feels, and it's really old, so it's perfect for junk journaling, or like I said, any kind of paper craft. Paint Inlays by IOD are a brand new technology that the sisters created. If you haven't tried the Inlays, you need to go ahead and try it. I have a short on my YouTube channel showing this portion of how I applied it. This is a longer version, and you will want to watch it maybe a couple of times and then go ahead and try it. So the Inlays come with protective paper, and then you have to cut out the actual little edge off. See there? And you can tell which side has the paint on it versus the back has the grid. I went ahead and I cut it out in little sections because I wanted to change it up. I loved the Catwalk, but I had a different vision, and so this is take 2. I'm going to go ahead and decoupage some different types of papers, the piano roll, the book sheet music, and I'm going to apply the inlays on top, and also the Heavenly stamp. I'm going to apply that on the inside. Stay tuned. Be sure to watch the entire video so that you can see how I transformed this bench. I love the way it turned out. I'm using the S30 Faded Burlap by DIY Paint. And because I already had painted this, this is where I'm going to go ahead and put my inlay. You always put on your second layer. You want a nice thick layer for the paint inlay to lay on. It's actually paint on that paper, and so you're going to apply it onto your wet paint, and it's going to reactivate that paint, and it's going to transfer, in a sense, or inlay into your wet paint. So you apply it, take a wet rag, you could also mist it with a little bit of water, and see how it's coming alive, and you see the vibrant colors. You know you've done it right. I also take my IOD brayer and just really get it in to the paint. That's how you're going to get a really crisp image, but they're meant to look like it's hand painted, so it's not going to be perfect, and you can reuse them over and over. So I did the same exact technique all over the piano bench top, and see how vibrant the colors are. All of the inlays are completely different. You can get so many different types of looks. You can see all of the inlays on my website, lisaboondesigns.com. The links are in the description. All of the inlays can be cut into however you would like. This particular pattern is so easy to cut apart, and I felt like it gave me a bigger bang for my buck. I took just one sheet and I was able to spread it out throughout the entire bench to give it a really cool design. It really looks like vintage wallpaper, and I really love the way it turned out. You can use any color and it would look totally different depending on the color that you use. I had painted the inside of the bench in Queen Bee in cake batter and a little bit of Crinoline, but I changed my mind, so I took one of the piano rolls and I cut it to size. I took some of my sheet music and I cut it up. I'm using for the piano roll a gel medium. It was really thick. I liked it. I like gel medium because it gives you some wiggle room. The piano paper is fragile paper. It's a little bit thicker. You could use liquid patina, but I wanted to see how well the gel medium did. I got it down with my brayer and my hand. I don't have to worry because it's thicker paper. It's not as fragile as decoupage paper, but you do want to be careful because it is old. It's from the 1920s and it is fragile paper. But notice here that I didn't get it all the way up and I was getting some wrinkles. I was able to lift it up, and I really attribute that to the gel medium. You want to make sure that you apply it really well so you don't have any air pockets. If you do get any, you could always pop it and apply some liquid patina down in there and get it to apply down. And then I sealed it with liquid patina. Then I took my liquid patina and all around the rim of the inside of the bench I applied my sheet music that I ripped up and just covered the whole side of it. This is also really thick paper and the liquid patina did a great job. Now my inlays are dry. You can see that it looks like paper, but as soon as I wet it, you get that vibrant color back. I'm using my rag. I don't want it saturated. I just wanted to get it moist to reactivate that paint and to be able to lift up the paper. If you feel some resistance, use a little bit more water, but it should come right up. and you'll see that your design is on your paint. You could reuse up to 2 to 3 times the inlays, so be sure to put them aside, let it dry, and save them for another project. So this is paint and you don't want it to smear. What we recommend is that you take 50-50 mixture of Big Top and water in a spray bottle or any spray sealer, and once you've taken up all your inlays, seal it. If you're using the Big Top mixture, do it twice just to make sure that you've got it totally covered. Then you can seal it with Big Top or wax or whatever method that you would like. You just want to be careful with it in the beginning. See how much paint there's left? There's still plenty of fun to be had with these. In order to blend it all together, I applied faded burlap around the edges of my paper. And then I take my sanding sponge, I go ahead and I sand the edges of the paper to get nice clean edges. And then I take the Heavenly stamp. It's also by Iron Orchid Design, and I like to cut out my stamps and leave them on the backing because it gives me something to grip on. I take my IOD ink in black and I apply all of the stamps that I had laid out onto the piano roll, and I love the way that it turned out. This was designed kind of for Christmas, but I think it plays well with the sheet music. And then I took a few of the scraps and I applied it onto my paper using liquid patina. Now, I did not let it dry all the way. I wanted it really faint and really just worn and aged just to tie it all in together. I had originally thought that I was going to decoupage them right on, but there was so much paint and I thought I could use these again. So I decided to hold off on the decoupaging, but that's definitely something that you could try. And see how the faded burlap applied because it's on the paper? And so what I did was I took a rag and I just wet distressed it to let it fade in to the paper. Then I took my faded burlap with a dry brush and I dry brushed the bottom of the bench. To age it a little bit more, I took my Craquelure stamp by IOD. The new stamp that you could purchase is called Vintage Textures, which has a few different kinds of aging stamps on there, and I just applied it. Then I went ahead and I used liquid patina to seal the entire bench. I lost the original hinges, so I had to go to Lowe's and get new hinges. My husband helped me put it together, and you could tell he just loves to be on camera. I think this piano bench turned out super, super cute, so different and unique. The inlays just made it. The dry brushing made it all come together as well. I love dry brushing. Makes it look really old and vintage. Let me know in the comments what you think about this project. If you have wanted to try an inlay but have been intimidated because maybe you think, wow, you know, the IOD inlays are a bit expensive, let me help you out. While supplies last, I have a free gift with purchase. I've cut out a few of this particular rose chintz, and if you purchase anything on my website, again, while supplies last, I will give you a little portion of the rose chintz inlay with a QR code so that you could watch the video and try it for yourself. I hope that you will try it. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about the piano bench. I look forward to hearing from you, and I want to thank you so much for watching this video, for your kindness and for your support. I hope that you have an incredibly blessed day. Thank you so much.